Nigel Clarke. Welcome to the General Election Debates, brought to you by the Jamaica Debates Commission, in association with Prudent, Flow, Scotiabank, National Democratic Institute, Digicel, NCB, Panjam, UWI, JM Group, and Victoria Mutual Group. Tonight, we focus on finance and the economy. Our moderator is Damian Mitchell.
Good evening. Welcome to the second of three political debates organized by the Jamaica Debates Commission, a partnership of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce and Media Association Jamaica. The debates are intended to assist in identifying, clarifying, and understanding the issues being presented in this general election campaign. This evening's debate focuses on finance and the economy. This evening, we are pleased to welcome viewers from 18 stations across the Caribbean, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. We also have people watching via Zoom in our debate watches. Tonight, representing the People's National Party is Mr. Mark Golding. And representing the Jamaica Labour Party is Dr. Nigel Clarke. Members of the panel of questioners are Kalila Reynolds of Nationwide News Network and Dashan Hendricks of Television Jamaica. Taking and presenting questions from the public is our social media editor, Marjorie Gordon. I'm your moderator, Damian Mitchell. The guidelines for tonight's debates have been previously agreed and are posted on the Debate Commission's website at www.jamaicadebatescommission.org. The guidelines include questions being no longer than 30 seconds. Each debater will have a maximum of 90 seconds to answer the question posed to him. Each debater will be allowed a maximum of 45 seconds to rebut the answer given by the other debater. The moderator will have the latitude to raise follow-up questions for clarification only. Questioners will be allowed a follow-up question to their primary question only on 2 occasions during the entire debate. Follow-up questions will be permitted at the discretion of the moderator. Where a follow-up question is asked, the debater shall have 30 seconds to provide the answer. Where a follow-up question is asked, it shall not interrupt the sequence of questions posed to the respective debaters. The questions posed in tonight's debate are created solely by the panel of journalists and are not influenced by the Jamaica Debates Commission in any way. Arising from the result of an earlier coin toss, the PNP have the first opening statement, followed by the JLP. For the closing statement, the PNP will go first, and the JLP will make the final statement. And now, the 2-minute opening statement from Mr. Mark Golding of the PNP.
In 2011, Jamaica was faced with a serious crisis. 3 years of consecutive negative growth, an IMF agreement that was on the rocks, the West Kingston incursion and the damage to Jamaica's international reputation, and indeed, the Prime Minister of the day resigned under a cloud. At that time, the Jamaican people turned to the People's National Party. We responded, and we turned the country around. We restored the international reputation of Jamaica. We returned the country to a path of growth. Unemployment was coming down. Poverty was coming down. Indeed, by 2015, the Jamaica Stock Exchange was ranked as the #1 performing stock market in the world for the first time ever. The architect of that economic recovery, internationally recognized as such, was Dr. Peter Phillips, the then Minister of Finance and Planning. And he was awarded Man of the Year in 2015 in recognition of the incredible job he had done. The JLP inherited a situation which was well poised for growth. Indeed, they promised us 5% growth in 4 years. Nigel, at the beginning of 2019, said the economy would be bubbling up. Unfortunately, Nigel, that soft drink was flat, and we have seen no growth in the last 12 months.
Thank you, Mr. Golding. And now let's hear the 2-minute opening statement from Dr. Nigel Clarke of the JLP.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator and panelists. Thanks to the Debates Commission and the sponsors who made this possible. Thanks to my opponent, Mr. Golding, for participating. And most of all, thanks to you, my fellow Jamaicans here and abroad, for your engagement and support. Over the past 4 years, under the strong leadership of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, a new Jamaica has emerged. A Jamaica characterized by increasing opportunities for individuals, for families, and for businesses, with an unprecedented level of record achievements. Over 100,000 new jobs were created as unemployment fell to record lows. Poverty fell by 40% to the lowest level in 10 years. And every opportunity we had, we reduced your taxes. We reduced your personal income taxes. We gave back GCT. We abolished and got rid of other burdensome taxation. Even in the face of the worst pandemic in 100 years, your taxes did not go up. They went down. At the same time, we provided more money for the vulnerable, more money for our students, and more money to strengthen the social safety net. We built more houses, we fixed more roads, we provided more investment, we broadened opportunity. And when the pandemic came, we were ready. Over 440,000 Jamaicans received direct cash grants from the government. We were able to deploy $87 billion of cash that we had patiently accumulated to cushion the effect on government revenues. We now face the greatest crisis of our lifetimes. We have delivered, and we are best prepared to lead Jamaica to a strong recovery. I invite you to join us as we work together to build Jamaica, recovering even stronger than before.
Thank you, Dr. Clarke. Our first question tonight comes from Dashan Hendricks from Television Jamaica, and it will be directed to Mark Golding of the People's National Party.
Good afternoon, Mr. Golding. The PNP in its manifesto outlined giving per household 48,000. Well, yesterday it was per household. Today it's 370,000 households. But $48,000 for them works out at about $26 to $30 billion. Yesterday, today it's about $18 billion. Clearly outlined to Jamaica how the PNP plan to fund this program in a time when we expect revenues to be falling given the effect COVID is having on the economy.
Our package of measures in our manifesto have been costed carefully by us. And we have looked at the budget and the way the budget is constructed with basically an 800 billion expenditure budget, of which roughly 280 billion is discretionary spending. 500 plus is wages, salaries, interest, non-discretionary expenditure. We have said we will prioritize the people and the people's agenda, putting people in the center of development, and we have costed our plan at roughly a little less than 30% of the discretionary elements in the budget, the discretionary component of the budget. Some of that will be paid for through the consolidated fund, some will be paid for through public bodies that have surpluses that are available for that. We do not intend to levy any new taxes. Jamaica is in a deep recession. We're in a crisis at this time, and we cannot impose taxes on the people at this time because it would be counterproductive, the objective being to return the country towards positive growth. We will be looking at our projects and programs. Some will be scaled back, the ones that we don't choose to prioritize, so that we can prioritize our agenda, our people's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Golding. Dr. Clarke, your rebuttal?
It is simply not credible. It misses the mark, and it is a big bag of tricks. the resources, when you look at their proposal, easily, over 5 years, it would easily cost $100 billion just from a few items. The resources of government come from you, the people. When they were last in office for 4 years, they levied $53 billion of taxes, and that is the only way for them to finance this. When they're finished taxing the Jamaican people to finance their $100 billion of expenditure, all of Jamaicans will be left with a little bit of money. He talks about being architect of recovery. If Peter Phillips has anything to do with it, he's the architect of destruction.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clarke. Dashan has indicated that he has a follow-up for Mr. Golding.
Just to get a little bit more on the paying of the water, the $40,000 for water and electricity, how does this address the fundamental issues of cost and supply of utilities, electricity and water, which if we can get them down, the consumers won't need to get the grant from the government?
This is a measure that takes into account where we are now in a deep crisis. The Bank of Jamaica, yesterday I believe it was, announced that in their view the economy is going to contract by 7 to 10%. Hundreds of thousands of persons are out of work. Hotel workers are out of work. Sugar workers are out of work. Many firms have laid off workers. People are feeling the crunch, and it's going to get worse. This measure is designed to ensure that there's an opportunity.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Golding. Okay. Our next question goes to Dr. Clarke. It comes from Kalila Reynolds of Nationwide News Network.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clarke. You just criticized very strongly your opponent's plans. Your manifesto, the JLP's manifesto, also includes billions of dollars in grants and support packages, tens of billions of dollars. What is the total cost of the promises in your manifesto, and how does the Jamaica Labour Party intend to pay for them if re-elected?
Thank you for that question, Kalila. The central piece of the Jamaica Labour Party manifesto is its 10-point recovery plan. And the 10-point recovery plan does introduce new central government expenditure. That comes in two parts. There's a capital expenditure component and recurrent expenditure. The capital expenditure, where we have greater discretion, accounts for about $25 billion of new capital expenditure that's not programmed. And that would cover 6 new science and engineering and technology academies, a new performing art academy, making our town centers, putting the infrastructure for Wi-Fi, and also 1 or 2 other pieces of capital expenditure. As far as recurrent expenditure is concerned, new central government recurrent expenditures not yet accommodated for, we're talking about approximately $5 billion. And that $5 billion covers the cost of operationalizing the free Wi-Fi. This is free Wi-Fi in town centers, operationalizing our daycare center proposal, as well as the grants for that are not yet programmed, of which $500 million for communities, $2 billion out of the 3 for fisher folk. The rest have been accounted for already.
Thank you, Dr. Clarke. Mr. Golding, your rebuttal.
Jamaica Labour Party's programs will cost billions of dollars. They have not credibly answered that question as to how they would finance it. Reality is that we're in a very difficult time, and there needs to be some measures that will take Jamaica out of the problem. The quality living plan that we have to provide $3,000 of relief for persons up to 360,000 households, and $1,000 of water bill relief will be paid for out of the existing budget, reallocating funding, deferring some programs that we don't consider to be priorities, and giving a stimulus package that will help the economy rebound from the recession that we're in.
Thank you, Mr. Golding. We go now to Marjorie Gordon with a question from social media.
Thanks, Damien. Now, Trudy Ann Campbell on Facebook, she wants to know, if you form the next government, how does your party plan to grow the economy in light of the challenges of COVID-19?
Mr. Golding, that question is for you.
In our manifesto, we have a series of programs that are designed to turn the economy around from the recession that it's in. We're focusing on housing, construction, affordable housing. We are also interested in agriculture. We want to promote agriculture much more. We feel agriculture must be, and rural development must be a centerpiece of any recovery. There's global logistics and global outsourcing as a third leg of the economy, and manufacturing as well. Those are the sectors that we feel we need to be focused on in the near term to turn the economy around. In terms of stimulus, the housing projects will create job opportunities for construction workers, and we plan to train many more and certify many more persons to participate in the construction of those houses. We have a grant that we plan to give people who are living in deplorable housing conditions, up to 10,000 persons per year, 400,000 each, will cost $4 billion, and that will enable them to achieve some dignity in their living space. Persons whose roofs are leaking, they don't have bathrooms, they have to share, and so on. This is a part of building the dignity of our people, and it will stimulate local economies, because that money will be spent with local tradesmen in the communities and hardwares in the community. We have a special grant for teachers, because there's going to have to be teaching from home, and they need to configure their homes so that they're able to deliver lessons from home.
Thank you very much, Mr. Golding. Dr. Clarke, you have 90 seconds to respond.
Trudian, thank you for that question. You, Trudian, want a government that you can trust to focus on recovering in the quickest possible time and recovering stronger than before. We have a plan to grow the economy and to recover. And our plan begins with maintaining macroeconomic stability during these turbulent times. We will provide financial support. We will diversify the economy and strengthen the business environment. We will strengthen the social safety net while at the same time mobilizing private sector investment, as government revenues will not be sufficient to carry the economy. We will invest in health and health infrastructure as we invest in education. We will work to accelerate the digitization of our society, and we will work to accelerate financial inclusion and at the same time launch a revolution in land and housing. When you put this together as a combination, we believe it offers the best opportunity to recover from this crisis and to recover stronger. And at this point in time, it is ever so important that Jamaica is served by a sober government, a government that thinks through what it plans to do and cost it properly. And that's going to maintain the hard-earned stability that we have worked for.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clarke. We will now take a short break and invite you to stay tuned.
The general election debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with Proven, Flow, Scotiabank, National Democratic Institute, Digicel, NCB, Panjam, UWI, JN Group, and Victoria Mutual Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Home internet from Flow can do so much more for you. It helps you stay closer to your family, wherever they are. Start a business of your own from home. High-speed online gaming, Flow Fiber is perfect for it. You can even learn something new, and you can enjoy it all with a Flow Internet and Home Phone combo plan for a special 3-month introductory price of only $3,499 plus GCT per month. We are Jamaica's largest network. Offer ends August 31, 2020. Conditions apply.
Hello, Jamaica. By now you know Chris Williams. My name is Rory McNamara, Company Secretary and a Director of Proven. Over the last 10 years, Proven has been known for making winning investments across the Caribbean, none of which can be greater than our contribution to the political process. We believe that all political parties must be funded by transparent contributions. Tonight, we are pleased to have publicly declared that we have donated $2.5 million to both the JLP and the PNP. Good luck to both parties.
Download the new Scotia app with a faster low-time bank wherever, whenever. Be in control and transfer funds or pay bills quicker with just a few taps and a swipe. Plus, we're serious about security. Want real-time notifications for all your transactions? Check. Log in with fingerprint? Check. Turn your credit card on and off? Triple check. Protected. Your money is safe and secure. Bank wherever, whenever with the new Scotia app.
Hey.
as small as a mustard seed can channelize all that you need. But you must know, not just believe that.
And today's masterclass is all about how to make a great sales video.
So you'll keep counting, learn from your lessons, and stop your pouting. Gotta feel it more than just your senses. And then my Jack don't see us through. As I would say, give thanks and praise in some way. Pound a phrase, can't pay ounce a day.
Stay home, stay safe, stay connected to work, school, and each other. Keep living. Digicel.
What's it like using NCB's Bank on the Go?
You see this your Bank on Go's machine are the best thing since sliced bread. Me say, the other day I see my friend in the long line. And I said, what are you doing on this long line? Come me show you how to use the Bank on Go. You see, all of them transactions, you can do it in 5 minutes. Me love it, me love it, me love it, me love it so till.
Save money, save time by using NCB's Bank on the Go areas, now located in branches island-wide.
Want to shake things up in a major way?
How?
Be a pioneer, a problem solver.
A critical thinker.
Don't just build a monument.
Build a leader.
Be that leader.
Be an engineer.
Be a microbiologist.
Be a lawyer.
Be a dentist. Be a pelican. Be a legend.
Why not? Just do it here.
Where? Where?
Here.
At the UWI Mona campus.
Home internet from Flow can do so much more for you. It helps you stay closer to your family, wherever they are. Start a business of your own from home. High-speed online gaming, Flow Fiber is perfect for it. You can even learn something new, and you can enjoy it all with a Flow Internet and Home Phone combo plan for a special 3-month introductory price of only $3,499 plus GCT per month. We are Jamaica's largest network. Offer ends August 31, 2020. Conditions apply.
Managing your company's finances remotely is now more important than ever. With Scotia Online for Business, you can safely and quickly conduct your transactions and save on costs. Accept payments, transfer funds, including third-party and wire transfers, view balances and download statements, pay bills and credit cards, make supplier payments, manage payroll, and purchase foreign exchange. Let us handle the way your business does business. Speak with a Scotia representative today. Call 888-429-5087 or email bnsj.businessbanking@scotiabank.com.
Hello, Jamaica. By now you know Chris Williams. My name is Rory McNamara, Company Secretary and a Director of Proven. Over the last 10 years, Proven has been known for making winning investments across the Caribbean, none of which can be greater than our contribution to the political process. We believe that all political parties must be funded by transparent contributions. Tonight, we are pleased to have publicly declared that we have donated $2.5 million to both the JLP and the PNP. Good luck to both parties.
The general election debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with Proven, Flow, Scotiabank, National Democratic Institute, Digicel, NCB, Panjam, UWI, JN Group, and Victoria Mutual Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Welcome back to the second in a series of 3 political debates being facilitated by the Jamaica Debates Commission, a partnership of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce and Media Association Jamaica. If you're just joining us, welcome. We now invite Dashan Hendricks to start this segment with a question for Dr. Nigel Clarke of the JLP.
Dr. Clarke, now your manifesto indicated that it will introduce performance pay for public sector workers starting with permanent secretaries and other public sector leaders. Now, how will this performance pay work, and will it be extended to ministers?
Thank you, Dashan. The government formed by the Jamaica Labour Party is committed to working to reform our public sector and to provide the best opportunities for the leaders in the public sector to shine, to achieve, and to earn. We have been in discussions and consultations with permanent secretaries enabled by the transformation, the Public Sector Transformation Implementation Unit, and those discussions are far advanced. In our next term, we will be finalizing, with the consent of permanent secretaries, the introduction of performance pay, which will allow permanent secretaries to earn extra based on performance. Once we have successfully done that, we will expand to other layers in the public service. With respect to your question on ministers, it's entirely possible that that could also include ministers. Traditionally, ministers have been, their pay has been linked to the pay of permanent secretaries. So it would stand to reason and stand to order that ministers would partake as well. But the discussions have not yet involved ministers, but we are certainly open to that.
Thank you, Dr. Clarke. Mr. Golding, your rebuttal.
There's no doubt that we need to increase the efficiency in the public sector, and performance-based pay is something that we should be pursued. In terms of the ministers, I don't know how we can really attach any credibility to what Nigel is saying. Andrew Holness had said back in 2016 that ministers would have job descriptions. That has not happened. He said there'd be fixed election dates. That has not happened. He said there would be impeachment of public officials who behave badly, illegally, and defraud the public. That has not happened. He said there'd be a big referendum to decide issues like ganja legalization, buggery, and so on. That has not happened.
Thank you, Mr. Golding. And now, Kalila Reynolds of Nationwide to Dr. Nigel Clarke.
Dr. Clarke, the Jamaican dollar has now passed 150 to $1 US, depreciating 12% since the first COVID case in March. What is the government doing about this?
Kalila, thank you for that question, because I know it's on the hearts and minds of many Jamaicans. The Jamaica Labour Party is committed to the maintenance of macroeconomic stability. Indeed, the maintenance of macroeconomic stability forms the first plank of our recovery plan. And macroeconomic stability entails the maintenance of low, stable, and predictable inflation. I want to reassure Jamaicans that your central bank has $3.7 billion of gross reserves, which is more gross reserves in the middle of a pandemic than we have ever had in our history. In addition, we have not in addition to 3.7, but we have $2.8 billion of net international reserves, which represent today more by way of imports of goods and services than we have ever had. The goods and services that what we have today represents is more than 70% higher than when we entered office. In addition, our non-borrowed reserves are greater by a factor of approximately 70% when we entered office. The governor of the central bank has committed to achieving inflation targets, and yesterday made it clear that he's prepared to take steps that are necessary in the exchange rate market to do so if necessary.
Thank you, Dr. Clarke. Mr. Golding, your rebuttal, 45 seconds.
The Jamaican dollar has devalued by over 14% since the beginning of 2020. It has added over $150 billion to the national debt because nearly 2/3 of the debt is denominated in foreign currency. The reserves have fallen quite precipitously in the last few months by over $400 million US. With the dollar sliding the way it has, it affects people in their pockets. Prices are going up, hardship is on the land. Nigel, the housewives are calling you Mr. 150 to 1 because it's under your watch that you've allowed this to happen. We believe the foreign exchange market needs tighter regulation and a different structure to ensure the productive sector get foreign exchange that they need.
Thank you, Mr. Golding. Kalila Reynolds has indicated that she has a follow-up question to Dr. Clarke.
In your response, Dr. Clarke, I heard you emphasize that we have enough foreign reserves to weather this storm, and that was indicated by the BOJ Governor Biles as well. But I didn't hear you indicate what the plan was to do about the dollar at 150 to 1, if there is a plan. So do you intend to do anything about it, or do you think it's enough to have those reserves as a buffer?
The central bank governor made it clear yesterday that he is prepared to do what is necessary using all the resources available to him, which include the reserves, to ensure that the exchange rate does not interfere with inflation objectives that have been set for the central bank. And those inflation objectives are to achieve an inflation target of no more than 4 to 6%. The currency has depreciated by 3% per annum since we entered office to the pre-COVID era, and 5% per annum.
Thank you, Dr. Clarke. Let's now go to Marjorie Gordon in the social media unit for a question from social media. Marjorie?
Okay, what's being asked, this question is from the diaspora. It says, what incentives, if any, are being contemplated to encourage members of the diaspora to invest in Jamaica?
That question goes to you, Dr. Clarke.
Thank you for that question. The diaspora is of central importance to the government of Jamaica, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been quite active in cultivating the diaspora over the last 4 years. We've had very successful diaspora conferences that have resulted in investment and where investment has been promoted. We plan under the next JLP administration to form a transparent and accessible Government of Jamaica land bank, where all the lands that are available for investment by persons living in Jamaica and Jamaicans living overseas can be transparently viewed, and where persons can make investment decisions. We plan to ensure that we provide an environment that is conducive not only to institutional investors, but to retail investors here and abroad. Indeed, we have broadened the retail investor market by bringing into fruition the listing of state assets in which 30,000 Jamaicans participated when Wigton Wind Farm went public, and 35,000 participated when the Trans-Jamaica Highway went public. Many of those were persons from the diaspora. Observing securities laws that are prevalent or that exist in overseas markets, we plan to continue to market opportunities, or at least have diaspora members be aware of investment opportunities in Jamaica.
Thank you, Dr. Clarke. Mr. Golding, you have 90 seconds for your response.
The diaspora have supported Jamaica over the years. Our remittance levels have kept up since the COVID crisis, and we must big up and thank our Jamaicans abroad for continuing to support our country, their families here. The best thing we can do is to create a safe and secure Jamaica that the diaspora residents will feel comfortable to come back here, buy property, invest in businesses. This government has adopted an approach of social control through repressive measures, states of emergency, locking up people without charge, ZOSOs. We believe in putting the people in the middle and center of development, investing in our people, uplifting them, not repressing them. If we do that successfully and we bring down crime, we will be able to attract more of our diaspora people to come in here and invest. The crime murder rate under the last PNP government was significantly lower than it has been under this government. Despite all the states of emergency and repressive measures, the murder rate is significantly higher each year than where we left it. The diaspora will not feel comfortable in an environment where they're not safe. Until we address that issue, we're going nowhere. The People's National Party puts people in the center of development. We believe in social investment in our people to uplift our people, not repress them.
Thank you, Mr. Golding. And now, Dashan Hendricks of Television Jamaica to Mr. Mark Golding of the PNP.
Mr. Golding, given the COVID-19 pandemic and the accompanying economic recession, it may be difficult to fund all the promises your party has made in the manifesto. Now, which projects would be prioritized if your party should form the next government, and why?
We will have to face, given the economic realities that the country is faced with. We will have to phase the implementation of the pledges that we have made in a way that makes sense. The ones that we would like to front end are the ones that will stimulate the economy and also strengthen the social safety net. So, for example, the quality living package, which would give 360,000 households a credit of $3,000 on their light bill and $1,000 on their water bill. Over 1 million people would benefit from that. That would be something that we would prioritize. The housing allowance for up to 10,000 persons per year who are living in dilapidated housing, we would prioritize that. Both of those would stimulate the economy and improve the lives of the people, especially the most vulnerable. The grant to help teachers to reconfigure their homes to teach from home, we will prioritize that. That's another important measure. And the increasing of the PATH program, the benefits on the PATH by 50%, that will stimulate the economy and strengthen the safety net. Those are the measures that we want to bring forward. And of course, bringing the internet to the people, because what has happened is so many of our school children, probably more than half, have been without education since COVID because they can't attend school, and many of them don't have access to the internet, so they can't participate in learning via the internet. We plan to put hotspots.
Thank you very much, Mr. Golding. Let's have Dr. Clarke rebut.
Mark, I know you're 16 points behind in the poll, but there's no need for this desperate attempt that has the potential of wrecking the country. I don't know what to actually respond to, whether to respond to the plan released on Monday, or the one released on Wednesday, or the one that Damien spoke about on the radio, or the one at the press conference, because it keeps on changing. There's a 2 o'clock p.m. plan, a 6 o'clock p.m. plan, and different people are saying different things. Frankly speaking, I don't think you know what the plan is, and that the people of Jamaica need a government they can trust to take us through the most difficult crisis in our lifetime, a sober government.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clarke. Let's have a follow-up question from Dashon to Mr. Golding.
Just quickly, how much will your plan cost in total?
We have costed it in total roughly $70 billion, of which a little over $15 billion would be absorbed in the public bodies, and about just over $50 billion would be on the consolidated fund. The biggest item in that is $22 billion for the universal health insurance. We don't anticipate that will be capable of being rolled out for a couple of years because it requires legislation and administrative development, but it is part of what we want to achieve. So overall, it's a $70 billion package to be phased appropriately.
Thank you very much, Mr. Golding. Now, Kalila Reynolds has a question for you, Mr. Mark Golding.
Mr. Golding, the Jamaica Labour Party's stated tax policy is to move from direct to indirect taxes, and as such, they've implemented the 1.5 plan following the 2016 election. What is the PNP's tax policy, and would you roll back the 1.5?
We believe in equity in the tax system. We believe that the tax system should be such that persons who can bear should bear. We would not be rolling back the 1.5. That is water under the bridge. It was introduced under false pretenses, and Nigel is aware of this because the public was told that it wouldn't cost anything to introduce it. We said it was going to cost approximately $30 billion, and indeed, the JLP levied $30 billion of indirect taxes on the backs of the people in order to pay for that 1.5. We wouldn't be troubling it at this stage because it is established and it's part of the tax law and people are used to it. What we like to do is bring down the tax rate through growing the economy. And as we grow the economy, we generate more revenues, lower the tax rates across the board. Lower the GCT as we did when we were in government, lower the corporate tax rate as we did when we were in government. When we were in government, despite the hardship of the IMF program that we were delivering on, we were able to reduce general corporate tax rate from 33.3% to 25%. We reduced GCT from 17.5% to 16.5%. At the same time, delivering on the IMF program. We would like to take those rates lower as and when the country can afford it. There is one thing that we think is inequitable, which is the fuel tax that was imposed to pay for the 1.5. There was a hedge, an arrangement to insure the country against oil price spikes. That tax was put in place for that. The hedge doesn't exist, but the tax is still
Thank you
there.
so very much, Mr. Golding. Now, Dr. Clarke will rebut in 45 seconds.
You know, Mark, we implemented direct to indirect taxation. And at the time, you said, or your administration or your party had said it could not be done. We got it done. They were wrong on that. They also said it would lead to an increase in poverty. Poverty has declined by 40% to the lowest level in 10 years. They were wrong on that. By moving from direct to indirect, what we've been able to do is increase the economic efficiency in the country because indirect taxes are more difficult to escape. That has allowed for revenues to exceed budget for every year of the last 4 years, which has not happened in the last 25 years except for one. And it's allowed for us to increase capital expenditure by 250%,
Thank you very
increasing
much.
quality of public services.
Thank you very much, then, Dr. Clarke. Kalila Reynolds has a follow-up question to Mark Golding of the PNP.
So, Mr. Golding, does your party intend to continue with the policy of direct to indirect taxation?
We believe that there is a role for both direct and indirect taxation. We believe in a balanced approach to taxation. As I said, we think that equity is critical in taxation, and those who can afford should pay. So we don't believe that there should be an abolition of all direct taxes by any means. We were the ones who introduced indirect taxation to strengthen the tax base in the 1990s after the first tax reform process. So we believe in a balanced approach to taxation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Golding. Now we go to Marjorie Gordon with a question from social media.
Thanks, Damien. So on social media, particularly Facebook, they're asking, if you become the next finance minister, what actions will be taken to regulate banking fees?
That question is for you, Mr. Golding.
Yes, thank you. You know, Nigel talked about reducing poverty by 40%. Under the last PNP administration, poverty, which we inherited at over 24%, we were bringing it down steadily. The JLP came into office, poverty was at 17%, coming down from 24%. It went back up after the tax measures that he introduced, and it went to 19%. In 2018, there was a good year in the sense that the agricultural weather situation was improved, and all of the road projects were rolled out at the same time, and we've seen some reduction in poverty. Of course, 2019, growth disappeared, went down to zero by the end of 2019. That had nothing to do with COVID whatsoever. And we don't know what the poverty numbers are because those have not been published. In terms of banking fees, it is inequitable the way the banking system works right now because there's no basic package of measures that allow customers of banks to enjoy some freedom from being charged fees on every single thing they do. It is not fair. Fitz-Jackson introduced legislation to achieve a package of basic services for which fees would not be levied. The JLP MPs blocked it. We intend to revive that legislation and to pass it into law so that customers are protected from excessive bank fee charges.
Thank you very much, Mr. Golding. Dr. Clarke, you have 90 seconds for a response.
Poverty fell from 21% to 12.6% under our administration. And it is likely that by the time the measurement is done, it will have fallen even further under this administration. With respect to banking fees, the People's National Party, the PNP, introduced a bill in Parliament that amounts to price fixing of banking fees in a market economy that they say they are committed to. Now, this is a problem I identify with, and I understand some of the frustration that many members of the public feel, including those who are on small incomes. But the problem with the PNP is that they introduce measures that end up working against the very people they're trying to serve. With price fixing, it would lead to disinvestment, people pulling up or not investing as much as they would otherwise, and we, the Jamaican people, you, the Jamaican people, would suffer. What we propose to do is to introduce consumer protection in financial services with a new and separate bill that would mandate that financial institutions disclose all charges, all fees, all interest rates, and how those interest rates are going to be calculated. There would be an avenue for complaints. So you, I didn't get your name on Facebook, but so you could complain to that authority, and the authority could levy sanctions, including restitution and fines. That's our plan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clarke. We'll now go to a short break and invite you to stay tuned.
The general election debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with Proven, Flow, Scotiabank, National Democratic Institute, Digicel, NCB, Panjam, UWI, JN Group, and Victoria Mutual Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Hello, Jamaica. By now you know Chris Williams. My name is Rory McNamara, Company Secretary and a Director of Proven. Over the last 10 years, Proven has been known for making winning investments across the Caribbean, none of which can be greater than our contribution to the political process. We believe that all political parties must be funded by transparent contributions. Tonight, we are pleased to have publicly declared that we have donated $2.5 million to both the JLP and the PNP. Good luck to both parties.
Home internet from Flow can do so much more for you. It helps you stay closer to your family, wherever they are. Start a business of your own from home. High-speed online gaming, Flow Fiber is perfect for it. You can even learn something new, and you can enjoy it all with a Flow Internet and Home Phone combo plan for a special 3-month introductory price of only $3,499 plus GCT per month. We are Jamaica's largest network. Offer ends August 31, 2020. Conditions apply.
Download the new Scotia app with a faster low-time bank wherever, whenever. Be in control and transfer funds or pay bills quicker with just a few taps and a swipe. Plus, we're serious about security. Want real-time notifications for all your transactions? Check. Log in with fingerprint? Check. Turn your credit card on and off? Triple check. Protected. Your money is safe and secure. Bank wherever, whenever with the new Scotia app.
Get more for you and your crew this back to school. Activate a Digicel back to school plan today and get up to 4 gigabytes of any use data for you, with up to 2 gigabytes of additional data to share with family and friends, so you can keep the link and stay connected as you head back into the classrooms. Plus, each plan includes free BIP voice and video and premium sports access. Offer ends September 30. Activate it in the My Digicel app. Digicel, data Fibicel. Oh.
On election day, all electors must wear a mask and have their hands sanitized. Electors must observe 6 feet physical distancing and remove your mask when instructed by the presiding officer so you may be identified. You will be issued a ballot along with a pencil and directed to the voting booth. Hand your ballot to the presiding officer and place your pencil in the box for used pencils. Sanitize your hand before dipping your finger in the electoral ink. This is a message from the Electoral Commission of Jamaica.
Managing your company's finances remotely is now more important than ever. With Scotia Online for Business, you can safely and quickly conduct your transactions and save on costs. Accept payments, transfer funds, including third-party and wire transfers, view balances and download statements, pay bills and credit cards, make supplier payments, manage payroll, and purchase foreign exchange. Let us handle the way your business does business. Speak with a Scotia representative today. Call 888-429-5087 or email bnsj.businessbanking@scotiabank.com.
I'm Donna Parchment Brown, your political ombudsman. We are a fair, neutral, and independent commission of parliament. We work for the people of Jamaica. We investigate and make reports to the party leaders. I call upon all candidates, the leaders of the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party, their members and supporters, to obey the laws relating to the COVID-19 and obey the code of conduct in this election and campaign. Let us have great elections. Let it be clean and fair.
At Digicel, we know how important it is for you to stay close while socially distant. That's why we give more ways for you to top up so you can stay connected with the people and things that matter the most. Top up and buy plans using a credit or debit card via the My Digicel app, digiceljamaica.com, and online banking platforms and ATMs. Plus, you can borrow credit with a DigiLoan or request credit with CreditMe. Remember, there might be a little distance, but you will always be able to stay connected. Digicel, there with you.
Hello, Jamaica. By now you know Chris Williams. My name is Rory McNamara, Company Secretary and a Director of Proven. Over the last 10 years, Proven has been known for making winning investments across the Caribbean, none of which can be greater than our contribution to the political process. We believe that all political parties must be funded by transparent contributions. Tonight, we are pleased to have publicly declared that we have donated $2.5 million to both the JLP and the PNP. Good luck to both parties.
Home internet from Flow can do so much more for you. It helps you stay closer to your family, wherever they are. Start a business of your own from home. High-speed online gaming, Flow Fiber is perfect for it. You can even learn something new, and you can enjoy it all with a Flow Internet and Home Phone combo plan for a special 3-month introductory price of only $3,499 plus GCT per month. We are Jamaica's largest network. Offer ends August 31, 2020. Conditions apply.
The general election debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with Proven, Flow, Scotiabank, National Democratic Institute, Digicel, NCB, Panjam, UWI, JN Group, and Victoria Mutual Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Welcome back to the second in a series of 3 political debates being facilitated by the Jamaica Debates Commission, a partnership of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce and Media Association Jamaica. If you're just joining us, welcome. We invite Dashan Hendricks to start this segment with a question for Dr. Nigel Clarke.
Dr. Clarke, in your party's 2016 manifesto, pages 12 to 14, the JLP promised at least 200,000 jobs in its administration. But do you believe the administration failed in delivering that promise, given that it only delivered half the amount?
Thank you, Dashan. The Jamaica Labour Party has presided over the largest growth in employment over any 4-year period in at least 20 years. 100,000 jobs have been created. Of that number, 33,000 have been created in real estate, business services, and renting, most of which is in the BPO industry. 24,000 jobs were created in tourism. 21,000 jobs were created in construction, and 14,000 jobs were created in retail. By any objective measure, this is a great achievement for the people of Jamaica and the government of Jamaica, given our historic experience of chronically high unemployment. When someone gets a job, it provides dignity, it provides self-worth. And the fabric of our society, the social fabric of our society, is strengthened the more persons who are employed. Our work is not yet finished. We have a lot more to do, and we will be investing in education and training to ensure that the jobs of tomorrow will deliver even more value than the jobs of today. But make no mistake about it, the Jamaica Labour Party has taken job creation seriously, and we have delivered for the Jamaican people.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clarke. Now, Mr. Mark Golding of the PNP will rebut in 45 seconds.
The People's National Party, in its 18 years in office, brought poverty and unemployment down to single-digit levels. Poverty that had been inherited at over 30% was brought down to under 10%, 9%. Unemployment was also brought down to below 10% to 9%. Since then, the poverty rates have never been as low as they were then, and they still aren't. And indeed, now that we're in a COVID crisis, we can imagine that the situation is going to be, when it's measured, much, much worse. Truth is that the promise as to the creation of jobs was not kept. And the situation now is very dire because hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans have been laid off.
Thank you very much, Mr. Golding. Now, Kalila Reynolds of Nationwide News Network has a question for you, Mr. Golding of the PNP.
Since the pandemic has impacted our biggest foreign exchange earner, tourism, so badly, what will your party do to ensure the economy is less reliant on tourism?
The COVID pandemic has exposed that structural weakness in our economy. where we're so dependent on one particular industry for foreign exchange earnings. We have to find a way of expanding and growing other areas of the economy that can supplement the lost foreign exchange in tourism. We do not know how quickly tourism will recover, because tourism is dependent not on us, but on what is happening in the markets which we serve. And those markets are going through a serious crisis still from a public health and economic point of view. Agriculture, food security is an area where we feel there's considerable opportunity for growth. Jamaica has competitive advantage in a number of crops: cocoa, coffee, ginger, cannabis, and others. We can grow and serve not only our people in terms of food security, but the region. That is an area where we feel more attention and more focus needs to be brought. We also feel that the logistics, the global logistics area, is an opportunity as well. With the increased use of online shopping and so on, warehousing space is going to be more important. The movement of goods through the supply chains around the world, Jamaica is well positioned economically and geographically to take advantage of that. We were the ones who passed the special economic zones legislation. This government has failed to implement it properly. We will do so.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Golding. Now, Dr. Nigel Clarke of the JLP will rebut in 45 seconds.
Diversifying our economy is one of the main planks of our 10-point recovery plan. Recovery will require tourism to recover, but we want it to recover stronger and better with community-based tourism, with a people-centered tourism, where more Jamaicans benefit from the tourism dollar and the tourism products. We will also diversify into coding and animation, into logistics and fulfillment. We're at far advanced in the Cayman Special Economic Zone Development Project, which will attract billions of dollars of investment and lead to greater employment and diversifying of our sources of income. We are focused on this as an objective, and the supply chain, the domestic supply chain, we will be strengthening, ensuring that more SMEs can participate.
Thank you, Dr. Clarke. Now to Marjorie Gordon with a question from social media.
Okay, Nicole Watts on social media wants to find out that following the COVID-19 experience, if you form the next government, what will be done immediately to ensure that those in the informal economy can become a part of the formal economy so they can benefit from some of so that they can benefit from what the government has to offer to help them in the crisis?
Dr. Clarke, that question is for you with 90 seconds to respond.
The Jamaica Labour Party administration believes in creating a more inclusive society. And we are not satisfied. We are not satisfied that for so long, so many have been excluded. Our plans are to lead policy implementation that will result in greater formalization. Many persons in the informal economy are excluded from participation in the National Insurance Service scheme and excluded from the NHT. That comes at a cost to them, and it leads to great inequality in our society. It's a structural inequality that we are determined to address. Our plans revolve around simplification of the tax procedures, simplifying statutory deductions, amalgamating deductions into one deduction, and applying technology, bringing efficiencies to bear so that it's easier to be a part of the formal system. It's easier to participate, because Jamaica is at its best when all of us are participating. We believe the informal economy contributes a lot to our society, and the contribution would be even greater if members of the informal economy participate in the formal structures, allowing for social security to be expanded to all Jamaicans, and that is our objective.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Clarke. Now Mr. Mark Golding of the PNP will respond in 90 seconds.
In terms of creating an incentive for people to join the formal economy, first of all, we have to increase digital access. And our plans for expanding internet access across communities in Jamaica through rolling out hotspots in community centers and police stations will achieve that. In terms of financial inclusion, We need to rationalize some of the rules around know your customer and the requirements, the difficult hurdles for people to open bank accounts for relatively small balances so that we can simplify those procedures and make it easier. The elimination of some of the fees that people are charged through legislation that Nigel has called it price fixing, well, I call it consumer protection, to ensure that the consumer can access banking services with a reasonable range of services for which they're not charged excessive fees. This will also help financial inclusion. These are very important measures because if we're going to modernize the economy, we have to create incentives that don't keep people out of the system but bring them into the system. This government has been very shoddy at the doing business, improving our ease of doing business rankings. We introduced, for example, a super form where when you form a company or you register a business, you get all your tax numbers at one time. We increased the ranking, improved the ranking by 40 points or thereabouts under our watch. It has slipped under the Jamaica Labour Party government.
Thank you very much, Mr. Golding. Now to Dashan Hendricks of Television Jamaica for a question to Mr. Mark Golding of the PNP.
Mr. Golding, in your party's rent-to-own program for housing, 130,000 homes have been promised in 5 years, which is about 26,000 per year, which is roughly equivalent to building a new Greater Portmore each year. What measures will be put in place if your party is elected and the houses are built to ensure persons continue to pay for the property and we don't end up having what happened in recent years when houses were built for people and they refuse to pay for them?
The 130,000 housing units over 5 years is an aggressive and ambitious target. I accept that. But we feel that it is important to create affordable housing for our people. And it is important to set targets that do require diligence and a great deal of attention and effort to reach them. The rent-to-own concept would allow persons who are not currently in formal employment and find it difficult to prove income to access a home by renting, and that a portion of their rental would go towards their down payment, so that when they have rented it for a relatively short space of time, the portion of the rent that goes to the down payment is then converted to a mortgage and gives them access to the home. In order to do this, we would have to use the National Housing Trust aggressively as a vehicle, but also mobilize pension funds and the capital markets to raise the capital, working in partnership with developers and the National Housing Trust to roll out this volume of housing. We feel that it is important that our teachers, our security guards, our farmers, our nurses, our entertainment practitioners, and so on, have a new way of accessing home ownership, because for many people, it is a pipe dream. The rent-to-own scheme is an innovation that seeks to make it more accessible for our people to own their own home.
Thank you very much, Mr. Golding. Now, Dr. Clarke, your rebuttal in 45 seconds.
If you hire somebody to clean a room, and when you come back, they've only cleaned a corner of the room, and you pay them anyway, and they have the audacity to come back and say, hire me to clean the whole house, what would you say to them? You would run them. In the Bible, Jesus said, those who are faithful in small things will be faithful in big things. The fact of the matter is, the PNP were not faithful with the delivery of houses in their last 4 years. They only did 8,000. We have done 20,000, 2.5 times. They have no credibility whatsoever. Hashtag no credibility on that issue.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clarke. Now, Kalila Reynolds of Nationwide News Network has a question for you, Dr. Clarke, of the JLP.
Dr. Clarke, what happened to 5 and 4?
Thank you for that question, Kalila. What is the purpose of economic growth? One of the purposes of economic growth is to increase employment. Under the Jamaica Labour Party, employment has increased by 100,000, and unemployment fell to the lowest levels in history. We achieved that. Another purpose of economic growth is to reduce poverty. Under the Jamaica Labour Party administration, poverty fell by 40% to the lowest levels in 10 years. We achieved that purpose. Another purpose of economic growth is to increase tax revenues so that public services can be expanded and improved for your benefit. Under the Jamaica Labour Party, tax revenues increased by 40% over 4 years, which allowed us to increase capital expenditure by 250%, delivering higher quality of public services for you, investing in security, health, investing in infrastructure, and in education and other forms of capital expenditure. Growth is a means to an end. We have achieved the ends for which our targets have been set. Do we want to grow at a higher rate? Of course we do, and of course we will. But it is undoubtedly the case that we have achieved the ends to which our growth targets have been set. Reduction of poverty,
Thank you very much,
reduction of
Dr.
employment,
Clarke.
and increase
And
in
now,
revenues.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clarke. And now, Mr. Mark Golding of the PNP, you have 45 seconds to rebut.
Growth is important. Growth is what generates additional revenues that allows a government to do more for its people. The 5 in 4 promise was a central promise of this administration. It has been a colossal failure. In 2019, growth fell every quarter to 0, ending the period of consecutive quarterly growth that had commenced under the People's National Party government. This government has no credibility to discuss the issue of growth. They have been a colossal failure when it comes to growth. Nigel is trying to make excuses for not achieving growth, but it remains a blot on the record of this government.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Golding. We'll now take a short break and invite you to stay tuned.
The general election debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with Proven, Flow, Scotiabank, National Democratic Institute, Digicel, NCB, Panjam, UWI, JN Group, and Victoria Mutual Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Home internet from Flow can do so much more for you. It helps you stay closer to your family, wherever they are. Start a business of your own from home. High-speed online gaming, Flow Fiber is perfect for it. You can even learn something new, and you can enjoy it all with a Flow Internet and Home Phone combo plan for a special 3-month introductory price of only $3,499 plus GCT per month. We are Jamaica's largest network. Offer ends August 31, 2020. Conditions apply.
Hello, Jamaica. By now you know Chris Williams. My name is Rory McNamara, Company Secretary and a Director of Proven. Over the last 10 years, Proven has been known for making winning investments across the Caribbean, none of which can be greater than our contribution to the political process. We believe that all political parties must be funded by transparent contributions. Tonight, we are pleased to have publicly declared that we have donated $2.5 million to both the JLP and the PNP. Good luck to both parties.
Download the new Scotia app with a faster low-time bank wherever, whenever. Be in control and transfer funds or pay bills quicker with just a few taps and a swipe. Plus, we're serious about security. Want real-time notifications for all your transactions? Check. Log in with fingerprint? Check. Turn your credit card on and off? Triple check. Protected. Your money is safe and secure. Bank wherever, whenever with the new Scotia app.
If it is small as a mustard seed, can channelize all that you need. But you must know, not just believe that.
And today's masterclass is all about how to make a great sales video.
So you'll keep counting, learn from your lessons, and stop your pouting. Gotta feel it more than just your senses. And remember, Jack don't see us through. As I would say, give thanks and praise in some way. Pound a phrase, can't pay ounce a day.
Stay home, stay safe, stay connected to work, school, and each other. Keep living. Digicel.
What's it like using NCB's Bank on the Go?
You see this your Bank on Go's machine are the best thing since sliced bread. Me say, the other day, I see my friend in the long line. And I said, what are you doing on this long line? Come me show you how to use the Bank on Go. You see, all of them transactions, you can do it in 5 minutes. Me love it, me love it, me love it, me love it so till.
Save money, save time by using NCB's Bank on the Go areas now located in branches island-wide. Want to shake things up in a major way?
How?
Be a pioneer, a problem solver.
A critical thinker.
Don't just build a monument,
Build a leader.
be that leader.
Be an engineer.
Be a microbiologist.
Be a lawyer.
Be a dentist. Be a pelican. Be a legend.
Why not? Just do it here.
Where? Where?
Here.
At the UA Mona campus.
Home internet from Flow can do so much more for you. It helps you stay closer to your family, wherever they are. Start a business of your own from home. High-speed online gaming, Flow Fiber is perfect for it. You can even learn something new, and you can enjoy it all with a Flow Internet and Home Phone combo plan for a special 3-month introductory price of only $3,499 plus GCT per month. We are Jamaica's largest network. Offer ends August 31, 2020. Conditions apply.
Managing your company's finances remotely is now more important than ever. With Scotia Online for Business, you can safely and quickly conduct your transactions and save on costs. Accept payments, transfer funds, including third-party and wire transfers, view balances and download statements, pay bills and credit cards, make supplier payments, manage payroll, and purchase foreign exchange. Let us handle the way your business does business. Speak with a Scotia representative today. Call 888-429-5087 or email bnsj.businessbanking@scotiabank.com.
Hello, Jamaica. By now you know Chris Williams. My name is Rory McNamara, Company Secretary and a Director of Proven. Over the last 10 years, Proven has been known for making winning investments across the Caribbean, none of which can be greater than our contribution to the political process. We believe that all political parties must be funded by transparent contributions. Tonight, we are pleased to have publicly declared that we have donated $2.5 million to both the JLP and the PNP. Good luck to both parties.
The general election debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with Proven, Flow, Scotiabank, National Democratic Institute, Digicel, NCB, Panjam, UWI, JN Group, and Victoria Mutual Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Welcome back to the second in a series of 3 political debates being facilitated by the Jamaica Debates Commission, a partnership of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce and Media Association Jamaica. If you're just joining us, welcome. The debaters will now be allowed to ask their opponent one question of their choosing within 30 seconds, to which they are both obliged to give an answer within 90 seconds. The answer given in this case can be rebutted, but in no longer than 45 seconds. In keeping with the result of the coin toss, the PNP's Mark Golding will go first with his question for the JLP's Dr. Nigel Clarke.
Nigel, I hear you keep talking about trust and who can be trusted and who can't be trusted. Your government is the government that promised to double the minimum wage and hasn't doubled it. Your government is the government that delivered the corruption scandals in abundance. Petrojam, Nessal, CMU, used car scandal, firearm licensing authority scandal, scandal after scandal. How can you dare to even raise the issue of trust with me? Our leader, Dr. Peter Phillips, has never been implicated in any funniness and doesn't surround himself with people who are involved in shenanigans. You have no credibility to discuss the issue of trust.
The people of Jamaica have, in poll after poll after poll, answered that question. And they have said emphatically that they trust Prime Minister Andrew Holness to lead Jamaica and lead Jamaica into a strong recovery. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has acted decisively when instances of corruption have arisen. Unlike what the PNP has done in the 22 years that we can observe. In most of the instances that are comparable, they waffled, they waited, public pressure had to build, and at the end, the consequences did not arise to the consequences that have arisen under Prime Minister Andrew Holness. We absolutely have credibility on that, and the people of Jamaica have said that they trust Prime Minister Andrew Holness. In addition to that, we have delivered for the people of Jamaica. We reduced GCT. We abolished many taxes, the minimum business tax, we abolished the asset tax, we abolished ad valorem stamp duty, reduced the transfer tax to make land investment easier for Jamaicans. We raised the threshold on PAYE, bringing more Jamaicans, or taking more Jamaicans out of personal income tax liability. We increased spending on social programs, 3 days to 5 days for school lunches. The people trust us because we are operating both on the economic side and on the social side.
Clarke. Now we'll ask Mr. Mark Goulding to rebut.
Nigel has spoken about polls, but the reality is that the government of Andrew Holness is the most corrupt government in the history of Jamaica. Cabinet ministers, junior ministers have had to be either relieved of their posts or moved into other areas. The OPM has become like a holding cell for corrupt politicians who have disappointed the aspirations of the people. It was the PNP government that developed MOCA, the major organized crime agency to fight corruption. It was the PNP government that conceptualized and brought legislation to establish an integrity commission with prosecutorial powers. Our record on this issue stands for itself.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Goulding. Now to the JLP's Dr. Nigel Clarke with his question for the PNP's Mr. Mark Goulding.
Mark, when you look at your economic record, when you look at the fact that the exchange rate under you in your 4 years declined by 10% a year, and you compare it with us, where it declined by 3% a year pre-COVID, and even now, it represents 5% a year. Under you and your 18 years, the exchange rate declined by 60% every single year. I invite every young person to go and Google it. And 1,000% over 18 years. Under your last 4 years, growth averaged 0.4%. Under ours, pre-COVID, it averaged 1%. 2.5 times the size. We want it to be more. You have a record of making promises. You promised houses, you delivered only 8,000. What credibility do you have whatsoever on these issues with the Jamaican people? And will you tell us whether or not that manifesto had your approval?
In terms of housing, the People's National Party has delivered more housing for Jamaicans than the Jamaica Labour Party. We built the Greater Portmore scheme. We built housing schemes in Harbour View. We built housing schemes in Mona. We built housing schemes indeed in Arnett Gardens and many other areas. So in terms of housing, our record stands for itself. In the last PNP administration, we were focusing on turning the economy around. It had hit the rocks under the Jamaica Labour Party. The IMF agreement that you took us into, you defaulted on. We had to renegotiate the IMF agreement. We had to deliver on all of the commitments in it, which we did, and we established a platform for economic growth and development after those 4 years, for which we've been internationally and locally recognized. So in terms of the credibility of our economic plans, they stand for themselves. In the 18 years that we were in office, Jamaica's infrastructure was built up. North Coast Highway Project, Highway 2000. In terms of ports, we developed the Port of Kingston, took it to another level. In terms of the airports, we built out Donald Sangster, it became an international hub. In terms of social development and social legislation, we established a national health fund, the Drugs for the Elderly program, the PATH program, and so many more things. So we have a record.
Thank you very much, Mr.
We are
Goulding.
proud
now,
of, and
Dr.
we can
Nigel
defend.
Clarke. Thank you, Mr. Goulding. Now, Dr. Nigel Clarke will have a chance to rebut.
I'm happy for this opportunity to clarify and to set the record straight. It was the Jamaica Labour Party that first acted decisively on Jamaica's debt with the Jamaica Debt Exchange under Bruce Golding and Audley Shaw. It was the Jamaica Labour Party that introduced the fiscal responsibility framework under the 2010 agreement. It was the Jamaica Labour Party that pivoted Jamaica away from high-cost capital market debt and towards low-cost multilateral debt. When the PNP said it couldn't be done, the JLP got it done. It is the Jamaica Labour Party that, after 20 years of talking about Port Royal and cruise, that brought a cruise ship to Port Royal. The Jamaica Labour Party that privatized NMIA when they, Norman Manley International Airport, when they tried and they failed. The Jamaica Labour Party gets things done.
Very much, Dr.
They
Clarke.
talk with empty promises.
And now we will go to the closing statements. Based on the earlier coin toss decision, Mark Golding of the PNP will go first.
Jamaica, the truth is that what has gone on before is all well and good. But what we are facing now is the deepest crisis the country has ever been in. This government has allowed the public health situation to get out of hand. The COVID crisis is testing us beyond anything that we've been tested before. The reopening of the borders and the loosening of the rules over independence has resulted in an explosion of cases. The economy is reeling. We had negative growth in the first quarter of 2.3%. In the second quarter, the Bank of Jamaica and PIOJ are now telling us that they estimate that the economy contracted by 14 to 17%. It is going to take astute, careful management with integrity and diligence and a commitment to the people of Jamaica to turn this country around. The last time we were in a crisis was in 2011. The Jamaica Labour Party had brought us into that crisis. They had entered into an IMF agreement and they reneged on all of the commitments under it. No further credit was being extended to the government. There was a massive crisis in West Kingston in which tens of scores of people lost their lives trying to fight the extradition of one particular drug lord. In 2011, the people of Jamaica turned to the People's National Party because they knew that we would deliver what needed to be done to save the country. In this last government that we're in now, they inherited a situation where the situation had been righted. The revenue reforms were substantial. Public revenues are up. The people need the People's National Party again.
Thank you
to
so
face
very much,
the crisis
Mr. Golding.
we have now.
Thank you, Mr. Golding. And now we invite Dr. Nigel Clarke of the JLP. Please go ahead with your closing statement of tonight's debate.
My fellow Jamaicans, Jamaica faces the worst global crisis of our lifetimes. Thankfully, this administration was prepared. We acted quickly and decisively. We protected lives and livelihoods, and we provided over 440,000 Jamaicans with direct cash grants. On September 3, Jamaica faces a choice. Do we return to the dark and uncertain days of high taxes and high unemployment? Or do we continue to build a new Jamaica of low taxes, low unemployment, low poverty, low interest rates, low inflation, where we have more houses, build more roads, have more opportunity, more technology, where we have a government that listens to the people, that responds to the people, and that works with the people to get things done rather than make empty promises. We have a detailed and creative and carefully thought out plan that we can work together to recover stronger. And I want to speak to every Jamaican tonight, wherever you are and wherever you're situated, that we are here because we care for you. And we have demonstrated that we care with our actions. We humbly invite you to work with us to build Jamaica and to recover stronger. We humbly seek your support, and we ask that on September 3, you put your X beside the bell as we work together to build a strong Jamaica. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Clarke. Well, that concludes our first debate between Mark Golding, representing the People's National Party, and Dr. Nigel Clarke, representing the Jamaica Labour Party. Join us again this Saturday, August 29 at 9 p.m. for the final debate in the 2020 General Election Debate Series organized by the Jamaica Debates Commission, a partnership of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce and Media Association Jamaica. The final debate focuses on leadership and features Dr. Peter Phillips of the PNP and Andrew Holness of the JLP. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to our production crew, our production and funding partners, and most of all, our viewers and listeners all across Jamaica and the diaspora. On behalf of the Jamaica Debates Commission, we are asking you to observe all the health and safety guidelines from the Ministry of Health, not just on Election Day, but every day. I'm Damian Mitchell. Good evening.
The Jamaica Debates Commission presents the General Election Debates in association with Proven, Flow, Scotiabank, National Democratic Institute, Digicel, NCB, Anjam, UWI, JN Group, and Victoria Mutual Group. See the leadership debate between the two major political parties live this Saturday, August 29 at 9 p.m. Don't miss the General Election Debates presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.